everybody, to episode 1 of the Locker Room Rant. I'm here with my boys, John V and Nico. Say hello, guys.
What's going on?
Guys, I don't know if you know this or not, but we are less than 48 hours away from the NFL draft. And I got to tell you guys, I'm pretty excited about this. But there's no way, Nick, there's no way we're more excited than our boy John V. His 49ers are number 3 in this year's pick. They traded up. And, John, I got to know who you like.
Well, I mean, we're all Ohio boys here, except 2 of us are Buckeye fans. I will honestly give you my honest opinion at this point, and I hope that they take Justin Fields at number 3.
Let me ask you this, John. I got a question for John, Nick. Hold on. This is important for John.
Yeah.
I want to know, who would you be pissed off if they take, and who are you going to be happy if they take? I need to hear who's going to make you mad if you hear that name announced. I got to know it.
I'm going to lose my mind and break everything in my home if they take Mac Jones, a.k.a. McCorkle, or Macaroni Jones. Niner fans and the Niner faithful have multiple names for this guy, and none of them are good. So I will tell you this right now. If in fact Justin Fields happens to go second to the New York Jets, I will have no problem taking Zach Wilson or Trey Lance. But if I had to pick one, it's my guy, Justin Fields, and I believe it's Justin Fields to the Bay.
Nick, chime in.
So I have like a strict draft tradition that I've been doing for like the last probably 6-7 years. And like the only thing that makes me want to break it is to go watch the draft with John. And if the gods line up right, have the 49ers pick Mac Jones. Because it will be freaking awesome.
Yeah.
It will be the most hilarious thing I have ever seen in my life.
He wants to see me in cuffs, leaving the draft. This is the most important pick for the organization, and Kyle Shanahan as head coach and John Lynch as general manager. So if they get this wrong, and they do in fact take Mac Jones, Nick would like to see me melt down in misery.
Let me ask you this, John.
Awesome.
What don't you like about Mac Jones?
So there's a guy, his name is JT O'Sullivan. He actually was a quarterback for the Niners back in the day. He has what they call the QB school. And it's pretty sweet. He covers every quarterback in the draft. He breaks down multiple games. And basically, from the Mac Jones content, it shows that Mac Jones lacks some arm strength, and often the receivers are so well. I mean, obviously, we know that Alabama had some of the best receivers in college football. So some believe that they actually make Mac Jones look a lot better than he truly is. So he can make these short throws. These guys have that hip motion. They can turn. They can catch the ball. They make up for his like, how do I want to say it? They make up for his lack of arm strength. Sometimes his accuracy is questionable, but he does in fact bring a great pocket awareness. He can move inside the pocket. He has the intangibles, and Kyle Shanahan is big on pocket passers. That's what makes a lot of 49er faithful nervous that Mac Jones could be the pick at 3.
Now, being a Buckeye fan and a 49er fan, you got to be licking your chops for Justin Fields, right?
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely.
I know another team.
It's awesome.
I know another team that was licking their chops for Buckeyes a few years ago, and that was the Washington football team that took Dwayne Haskins. Now, is any of that in the back of your mind? Maybe that the Ohio State University makes these guys look a little better in that program. They're making these guys out to be a little better than they really are. Then they get to the NFL and they can't really cut it. I don't know any recent Buckeyes quarterbacks that have panned out. Is that in the back of your mind?
Oh, absolutely. Actually, just a few months ago, I was completely opposed to Justin Fields at 3. Well, Justin Fields at 12 at the time. To be honest with you, he was getting associated with the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan because of a quarterback. It was called the QB Collective years ago. Shanahan had worked with Justin Fields in his high school, I don't know, I wouldn't say like at the prime of his high school career. And a lot of people had these two associated. So, look, we know that not many quarterbacks from the Big Ten. Well, the Buckeyes have no successful quarterbacks at all. I think the most successful human being to throw a ball for the Ohio State Buckeyes was actually Herb Street, and he wasn't even a pro football player. So, I mean, there's just that they're not known for producing quarterbacks. We are known for edge, offensive linemen, secondary. We are not known to produce quarterbacks. So that's a huge concern. However, Justin Fields was a product of Georgia before he was truly a Buckeye. So a lot of this Buckeye talk, look, somebody has to come along sooner or later to break that trend. Someone has to succeed to make a university, shine. I think the Buckeyes are known for a lot, but they're not known for quarterbacks. So Justin Fields at 3 is huge for us. And hopefully, with that arm and those skills, like he's a mobile quarterback. And in the NFC West, we are being dominated by mobile quarterbacks. So we're tired of chasing around Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson. It's time to bring someone mobile to San Francisco and try to win that 6th championship.
I heard that, Nick. I got a question for you. Your boy, Urban Meyer, now with the Jacksonville Jaguars, sitting pretty at number 1. Oh, go ahead. Not your boy.
I've never been a big fan of Urban Meyer.
Oh, okay.
I actually think Ryan Day's better.
Okay. That's maybe for the next show. That's a topic for the next show. So
I think he's a little overrated.
Urban Meyer sits at number 1, sitting pretty with his shiny new toy Trevor Lawrence at number 1.
Yep.
Now, if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars and you're Urban Meyer, are you fielding any calls whatsoever? Are you fielding calls just for fun, just to get some excitement out of this process? Maybe someone calls you and says, I'm going to give you the next 10-year first-round picks. Are you taking any calls right now?
I mean, you could field the calls if you're bored, but if you're thinking like legitimately, you're going to pick Trevor Lawrence. Listen, as far as QBs go, you're either there's like 4 types of QBs. There are QBs that just shouldn't be in the league. They're cast-offs. There are QBs that can be adequate starters, really good backups, but they'll never be able to win. There are good quarterbacks who can win in the right situation, and there are transcendent quarterbacks. There are quarterbacks that just make your team better and can turn your team into a winner, change the culture. Justin Lawrence is in that same ballpark of quarterback
Trevor
like
Lawrence.
Andrew Luck.
Trevor Lawrence.
I'm sorry, Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is in the same
Justin
ballpark.
Lawrence is the dark horse of the draft.
I think we might have went to high school with it.
No one's talking about that guy.
No, but Trevor Lawrence, he's in the same ballpark as an Andrew Luck, as a Peyton Manning, guys that were like you known for a long time that they were going to be franchise types quarterbacks. Justin Fields, we didn't know that about him. We thought maybe if he had a good year, could possibly be that. Trey Lance, no one was talking about that guy before. Could those guys be great? Sure, but for every guy that takes the step up, you also have guys like Marcus Mariota. You also have guys like Carson Wentz, people that were really coveted in the draft for whatever reason or another, but just they weren't worth the capital that they were that was spent on them.
Okay, so you're saying Trevor Lawrence is gonna take the Jacksonville Jaguars to the next level. This is a slam dunk. You're not fielding any calls unless you're just mind screwing with people?
You can never be 100% sure, but I think Trevor Lawrence is about as sure a pick as you could possibly get. He was an Andrew Luck. He was a Peyton Manning.
So who do you like? Who are you eyeing for your Browns? What are your needs and what are your wants for your Cleveland Browns?
So I think that my Browns are in a really, really super good situation. It's a situation that you like to be in at the end of the draft. They don't have many weaknesses. So if I was to identify a couple weaknesses, and I'm sure anyone who follows the Browns knows, it's probably going to be cornerback, although they did get a lot better with in the secondary as a whole with Troy Hill.
Killed it in a free agency.
John Johnson. Linebackers, huge. That's probably the biggest hole I think they have. But is linebacker really the most coveted position? I think that you could possibly make it. Yeah, I think you could possibly make an argument that if we get a couple good linebackers on the team, that we can really change our defense. And I'd like to see them. I mean, Tack McKinley and Jadeveon Clowney, I feel pretty comfortable with them, but I'd like to get another young edge. I think our offense is pretty much set. I don't think we need to do anything on our offense. I would like if I'm kind of wishing at this point, but I would like to see the Phillips kid from Miami, the edge. I would like to see. I don't think it's going to happen, but Owusu-Koramoah from Notre Dame fall to the Browns. I would like to see J.C. Horn probably fall to the Browns. That being said, I think we would be in a good situation to trade up for those guys. So whoever the Browns are in love with, if they feel like they can trade up and grab them and not waste too much, and I think they could waste a lot of their current draft capital, but if they feel like they can step up and get one of those guys, I would love that. I would love that play.
Well,
yeah, it's kind of uncharted territory for the Browns. Normally, when you hear trade up, it's to either 2 or 1, and it's kind of weird seeing them in the 20s and having actual trade up to the teens. So I'm in the same boat as you. The Buffalo Bills pick at 30. A few guys I'm eyeing myself. I want to hit back to John real quick. John, so number 3 is going to be a quarterback. There's no doubt in anybody's mind. What do the 49ers do with Garoppolo? Those pesky Patriots are in the market for a quarterback. Your boy Garoppolo came from New England. Is there a chance he could be headed back, or what are your thoughts on that?
There's been a lot of speculation that Bill Belichick wanted his what they called the golden boy. He wasn't too happy about that when Garoppolo was traded to the Niners. So look, they've got Cam Newton and they are trying
maybe like 15, 14, something like that.
15,
Nick,
14,
Nick, I think your sound was somehow delayed back there. But John, continue with the Patriots.
I think that the Patriots might actually be content with Cam Newton this year. They made some headway, man, in free agency as well. They really hustled, so they gave him many weapons, and they're not in a bad position in the draft either. Look, Chicago needs a quarterback. Okay, Andy Dalton's not going to cut it. So I think that there's a good chance that Nick gets new internet and Jimmy Garoppolo finds a home somewhere between Denver, Chicago, or New England. Denver is actually in the cards. I'm hearing some chatter from Twitter and from a lot of other channels that are covering it. And Denver has ties with our GM. So John Elway and John Lynch are pretty cool. They're pretty cool buddies. So I don't know. Maybe there's something in the works. Look, Jimmy Garoppolo could be traded draft night. He could be going somewhere. And frankly, he may want out, Tony. He may not want to wait for Kyle Shanahan to cut him. Nick, you're just coming in, you're coming out, you're cutting in, you're cutting out. You're freaking me out,
Nick.
man.
You're like the Joker right now. You're just laughing out of nowhere.
It just comes in and it's just scary.
Yeah, you're the Joker, buddy. So, John, Garoppolo, I got news for you. I hate to be the one that says it. Cam Newton sucks now. Cam Newton is terrible. I mean,
listen, he's got some in the tank still, buddy.
Okay, you might say he's got stuff in the tank, but can you imagine Bill Belichick going from his golden boy, his golden child that he just won however many Super Bowls, what was it, 6, 7? However many Super Bowls he won with Tom Brady. And then you go.
I'm seeing everything. I'm seeing everything.
I gotta tell you, Nick,
this doesn't even make sense. You're taking sips of water while laughing. It makes no sense.
It does. Really. It actually looks like there's a Q-tip stuck in your ear. You're freaking me out, man. What's going on?
You're freaking me out, Nick. So, can you imagine being Bill Belichick, the headaches he must be going through, knowing that he had Tom Brady, the golden child, and then you got to switch to Cam Newton? I mean, everything about those guys is opposite, and I just feel like he's got to be going crazy. And watching Tom Brady win the Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year had to just crush him. And you see these offseason moves that they're making right now. It's almost like they're in panic mode. He's probably thinking, I only got, a few more years of this coaching thing left. I need to get on top again. I need to get on top. Tom Brady mentally, him winning the Super Bowl last year mentally messed with Bill Belichick and the entire Patriots organization. I truly believe that. Nick, I'd like to have you talk right now, but you're there's something wrong with you. I'm going to try closing you out
and bring him back in.
Okay, Nick, you there? Nick, maybe just really try rebooting.
Try rebooting, bro. We'll bring you back in. Look, I think it had to be heart-wrenching for Bill Belichick to watch Tom take a ride south and win. Look, I mean, the association between Tom and Bill has been, who is the reason for the victories? Is it Bill's genius or is it Brady's bronze and arm? Look, I think it says a lot. Tom is probably I think Joe Montana will always be the greatest quarterback, but it was a different time, right? The league was a lot more violent then. So if Joe Montana played in this current situation that Tom's been playing in, the way the league's going versus health and safety, I think Joe Montana could have won many more rings. Tom.
Let me ask you this, John. And Nick, chime in. Hopefully you're back with us now. So let me ask you this. How many years do you think Belichick has left?
3.
3 years left. Do you think he's going to take those 3 years he has left of coaching the NFL and
I think Belichick can probably go as long as he wants.
I mean, it's possible. It depends on how they do in the draft. Maybe we should revisit this and see who they take. They're going to draft a quarterback unless you're right, Tony, and Jimmy Garoppolo somehow makes it back to New England. I mean,
he's going to take his last few years of coaching in the NFL, and he's going to utilize those years with a rookie quarterback. I mean, it could take 3 years to groom someone brand new. I don't see it happening. I see there being some type of Jimmy. I see there being some type of Jimmy G reunion, and I think Belichick wants to. I think he wants to win with Jimmy G. I think there's a passion for him to win with Jimmy G, and I think Thursday night something's going to happen to where they get Jimmy G, and he's starting for the New England Patriots this year.
Look, you can be right. You can be right. Okay, it just depends on what the Niners want in return. They were looking for a first-round pick. Now, they have basically molded this image of Jimmy as this injury-prone quarterback. So essentially, they shot themselves in the foot looking for a first-round pick for a guy that they deem injured 2 out of the 3 years as a San Francisco 49er. So if that doesn't concern Bill Belichick, then maybe you're right. Maybe Bill's like, look, he knows my system better than anyone. He'll probably thrive in it, but is Bill willing to give us the compensation to get Jimmy back in New England? Now remember, Jimmy has a no trade clause, so he gets to choose.
Jimmy would choose to go back to New England. They're stacked. They got a stacked roster. They have a stacked roster, and I think he would choose to go back there.
You're onto something. That is a prime possibility. Even though Belichick has said he is not looking to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, there is still a chance. It's all smoke screens from here, bro.
So I wouldn't be a Bills fan if I didn't talk about the Bills draft this year. We picked number 30, which is a blessing in disguise. While the season's going on, you're cheering for your team to win, and then after the season's over, if they're not hoisting up that trophy, you're pissed off that they won so many games. So picking at 30 is a blessing, but also a curse. I know one player that I've been hearing rumblings about is Asante Samuel Jr. And the reason for that is Sean McDermott was the defensive backs coach for the Philadelphia Eagles when his pops played for the Eagles. So he has a very he's familiar with the family, familiar with the kid. He's got some inside information there on Junior. I'm excited about that pick, but I got to tell you, John, it's tough for me to watch Bills games. And it's tough for me to watch the rushing attack. The last 3 years have been absolutely miserable when it comes to the rushing attack. We drafted Singletary. Singletary hasn't, in my eyes, lived up to his potential yet. We haven't, in the last 3 years, we haven't had a rusher over 800 yards, which I think is ridiculous. I think last year our leading rusher was Singletary, 600 some yards, 2 touchdowns. And I'm tired of seeing that. And I have a guy that I'm in love with in this draft. It's that Travis Etienne from Clemson. I think that kid is absolutely sick. I think he's going to be a star at the next level. And I would love for my Buffalo Bills to take another chance on another Clemson running back. I know last time we did that was C.J. Spiller, and he didn't pan out, but this kid is the real deal. And I would love to see Buffalo take a risk and draft that kid. Having said that, I would be fine with my consolation prize of Samuel Jr. I think we got Nick back.
Hey, welcome, Nick. How you doing, buddy? Good to have you.
Yeah, I still don't think you're working.
There's a lot, Nick. You're having some technical difficulties, buddy.
Hopefully.
Yeah, well, that's the
Everything's
beauty
delayed.
of
Hopefully. Connection's terrible.
that's the beauty of
But-
live.
We good? All right.
I don't know
Nick,
if we're good, Nick.
you're coming in and out, man. It's a bad feed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep. That's it. What are you gonna
beauty of
do?
live
Sorry,
stream.
guys.
Nick coming live from AOL dial-up. John, tell me.
Ethernet cable to that Chromebook there, Nick. I'll tell you what, Tony. I honest to God,
I don't know
the
what to
Bills
do.
are. I don't know how to help you. I don't.
John, what about Trey Lance? What's your thoughts on Trey Lance? If
I don't know what to do.
you hear that kid's name called,
It was just fine. It was just fine when we tested it out.
I know, but as the stream goes along, it depends on if your Chromebook can keep up with the speed. I just don't know that you can keep up, bro. Tony, Trey Lance, Nick, give me a second. Let me answer this, and then we'll get back to your internet difficulty there, bro. Trey Lance, Tony, this kid has some intense potential. Took a ton of snaps under center. Sells it as good as anyone. I honestly believe that the ceiling on Trey Lance is it's awesome. There's a lot of potential for that boy. I know that he's got a bad rap for that one particular game in 2019, which I wish they wouldn't hold against him, but the lack of game tape is the one thing that's going to hurt him, and hopefully he doesn't drop too far because he's talented. He's truly talented. And I'll tell you, at 3, Fields or Lance, I have no problem with it. Like I said, if the Jets take Justin Fields, I would take Zach Wilson or Trey Lance. Either of the 3 are going to be fine. They're all 3 very talented quarterbacks. Now, getting back to your Bills, though, I want to ask you a question. What is the likelihood that Asante Samuel falls to 30? There's a lot of guys. There are a lot of guys that are going to drop. But look, if you can get ETN, that would be pretty impressive. I still don't know that even he would drop to 30. Do you have any fears that those gentlemen won't fall to number 30? Do you think the Bills will try to trade up?
I have zero fear that Asante Samuel Jr. will not be there at 30. My fear is that they're going to take him. I shouldn't say that. I don't fear that they're going to take him because I think he's going to be a solid player opposite Tre'Davious White. And when you watch that AFC Championship game against the Chiefs, I mean, that's what we needed. We needed another star corner out there to stop those guys. I mean, that team's sick. I remember watching The Greatest Show on Turf with those Rams teams. This team is light years beyond those guys. This team is unstoppable. And I'll tell you what, those Tampa Bay Buccaneers better thank the Lord that they ran into a banged up Kansas City Chiefs and a banged up Patrick Mahomes, because they would have ran those guys out the building as well in that Super Bowl. But I think I don't know how to beat Patrick Mahomes. I know you rush him and you get pressure on him like the Buccaneers did, but he wasn't the same guy. I don't know what the blueprint is to beat that guy and to beat that team, but I know one thing for sure. I don't know if you've been paying attention to the Chiefs this offseason, but they beefed up their offensive line. I don't even know how they're paying for all these people, John. I'm watching them sign these guys, and I don't even know.
Pocketbook, brother.
I don't know how the money's adding up to allow these guys.
They take and backload. And let me tell you something. Backloading contracts can hurt you in the future. But you know what? Their window's open to win multiple Super Bowls. So you know what? They don't even care. They don't even care. Look, I don't even know I can't even explain to you why Baltimore would trade Orlando Brown in some draft capital to the Kansas City Chiefs. So they got Orlando Brown. You asked, how do you beat Patrick Mahomes? I'm still not healing from the 2019 Super Bowl. We kind of gave you the blueprint how to beat Patrick Mahomes, and it's just contain from the edge. Something that you want the Bills to be able to do quite a bit. You want to be able to contain on the edge. Look, Patrick Mahomes can beat you in so many ways that whether you got to chase down the quarterback. If you can catch him and you can put pressure, you can make it complicated for him. But did you see some of the throws he was making in the Super Bowl? He was almost floating off the ground 10 inches, and he managed to throw a sidearm ball like 25 yards. He was practically laying on the ground when he threw it. He's insane. He's a talented young man. But the blueprint to beat him, look at the Browns, man. They had an opportunity. They had him out of the game. They broke him. They broke him like in two. They took him out of the game, and the Browns secondary was so garbage that they could not stop the Chiefs. They literally could have knocked them out of contention, and you would have never been put in that position. That's your Browns there, Nick. They failed to deliver.
What sense did that trade make for the Ravens? I can't wrap my head around that. I
think he wanted out.
Have him go out if he wants out, but don't send him to the best team in your conference. Why would you do that?
That's the biggest question mark in the entire trade. Look, I mean, they might be content. Who is the other guy? They have someone else that's doing. Who is that? Nick, Baltimore's offensive line. Who you got? Who is it? You know what? I should have known better. Nick, are you on mute?
No, we'll hear what he's saying 10 minutes from now, and then we'll get back to that. But do you think the Ravens actually have this mindset? Now, I was thinking about this today. Do you think they are actually in the mindset of Lamar Jackson doesn't need a good offensive line because of his capabilities of scrambling, getting out of trouble? Do you think that they think that way? Because why else would you send a guy, one of their best offensive linemen, to the Kansas City Chiefs, the team that you're going to be chasing for the next 10 years with Patrick Mahomes? You're going to send your offensive lineman to the Kansas City Chiefs. Do you think that they just think Lamar Jackson, you know what? He doesn't need this line anymore. I don't know. That's all I could really. That's the only way I could wrap my head around.
You're going to find out really quickly that not being able to protect the quarterback is going to wear on the quarterback. Look at Russell Wilson. He's been running his entire career. They've invested so much money to Russell that they didn't invest in the offensive line. So now Russell has watched Tom Brady win a Super Bowl. He's watched Patrick Mahomes win a Super Bowl, and now he's getting a little salty out there. So it's time to protect the quarterback because. Look, I don't know why Orlando Brown would want to leave unless look, a lot of one-year contracts, COVID has created an unfit circumstance for cap space. So if they knew that they couldn't keep him, they couldn't re-sign him if he didn't want to be there. We don't know why. I would imagine that it's going to come out sooner or later if there was something behind the scenes that we don't know. But look, man, to trade an offensive tackle and a good offensive tackle within the AFC, bad business. And one might wonder if this season doesn't play out the way the Baltimore Ravens hope it will, that we could see someone on the hot seat.
So what about the Green Bay Packers? Out of the last 9 drafts, I believe it's out of the last 9 drafts, they've drafted one offensive player, and it was a quarterback last year with Love. So how can they send a message to Aaron Rodgers? Something just came out today with the Packers saying Aaron Rodgers is our guy.
They had a
well, thanks.
hole. We fixed that hole.
I mean, Nick, I don't know what's going on, man. I gotta tell you. I mean, there's just little bits and pieces of what you're saying just come in, Nick. We just heard hole.
They had a hole. They had a hole at quarterback at the Green Bay Packers. They had a hole. So, oh my goodness, John, this is hilarious.
Nick is still talking about the Browns Kansas City Chiefs game, bro. I don't know. But look, if you were sending a message to your quarterback, much like the message that you're sending to Jimmy Garoppolo, look, there was just a presser the other day, and they said that they're looking for their starting quarterback. At least they're putting it out there that they're looking for their starting quarterback. It's a snub, I know, but the way that they did it with Love and Rodgers didn't realize that they had any interest in taking a quarterback. That was completely thrown at him right out from under him. And to be honest with you, I think it actually fueled him because he had an MVP season. So look, I mean, we can say what we want. Rookies tend to, look, you got to you have to address the quarterback position for the future. He's 37 years old. Okay. Clearly he's got at least 3 or 4 good years in him, I don't know, Tone. It's a message that, that he did not like, and he was pissed, and now he's on Jeopardy.
Let me tell you how you send a message. Let me tell you how you send a message to Aaron Rodgers. Like you said, he's only got a few years left. In his prime, I'm not saying that he only has a few years left, but a few years in his prime, maybe 3-4 years in his prime. Like I said with the Garoppolo, Belichick, Patriots drafting a quarterback, same thing goes for this. No matter who you draft this year, very seldom do those players make a huge impact. So it came out today that the Atlanta Falcons are interested in trading Julio Jones. Now, if you want to make a statement to your star Hall of Fame quarterback and to get him excited again to play football in Lambeau Field, why don't you make the statement of diving into the deep end and going after Julio Jones? Could you imagine Aaron Rodgers with Devontae Adams and Julio Jones? Could you imagine that team, John? What are your thoughts?
I imagine it because I would have to see that in the NFC, and I don't want to see that in the NFC. Julio Jones.
Listen, don't give me that NFC shit when we got to deal with Mahomes. We got to deal with Mahomes for the next 12 years. You only got Aaron Rodgers over the next 2-3 years, and then he'll fade away. We got to deal with Mahomes, bro.
Good point. Look, if I'm Green Bay, I'm definitely sniffing that out. Okay, but this draft it's deep in wide receivers, Tony. Some of these athletes are running 4.3 40s. Okay, that's speed that Julio doesn't have. And he's on the back end of his career, bro. I don't know how much left Julio has in the tank. However, if your quarterback is Aaron Rodgers, and for
And
whatever
your
reason,
opposite Devontae Adams. Think about that as well.
yeah, that's a nasty combo. It's actually scary, and it might fear a lot of teams, bro. Look, Tony, if Green Bay hasn't done their due diligence and looked into Julio Jones, then it's said and done. I'm sure they've done it. If not,
What a message. What a message that would send to him, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what, Aaron, we're not going to draft you a guy that's going to be good 2-3 years down the road. Maybe. We're going to go out and we're going to get you Julio Jones. I mean, could you imagine what that would do for him and for that offense? I mean, they would be sick, John.
Yes, if Julio can stay healthy, Tony, that is sick. If he cannot, then I hope they don't waste too much getting it. There's not a lot of money to spend right now. Teams are under cap. A lot of 1-year contracts. If they can get Julio to sign 1 year for maybe, I don't know, let's say they can get him for $8 million, $10 million. You make that trade, or you pick him up. I don't know. Let's see draft night. They could trade for Julio. There's a possibility. I don't know what the contract looks like right now for Julio Jones. But if Atlanta's looking to move him, then there's a lot of teams looking, Tony. There's a lot of teams with young wide receiver core that could use that kind of veteran presence. So there may be a lot of suitors for him. And Green Bay, although Green Bay would love it, and I'm sure Aaron Rodgers would love it. Look, they weren't hurting. They looked pretty good last year, bro. They looked pretty good.
You know what? When you see someone, and this is me watching from home, eating some potato chips, watching ESPN, and the ticker comes through and it says Falcons interested in trading Julio Jones. It did something to me. It did something to me mentally. Like, wow, man, I can't believe they don't want Julio. Now, can you imagine Julio Jones on the other end? Been with this team, put his heart and soul into this Atlanta Falcons team since day one. And to see that come across that they're interested in trading you, he's as good as gone. I mean, that guy, they're going to trade him, or he's just going to sit out the year, fake one of these injuries or something like that. But it's something that I'm interested in seeing if the Green Bay Packers dabble into that at all. I want to go back to Trey Lance real quick. I think I asked you this a few days ago when we were shooting the shit on the phone. But does he kind of give you a resemblance of that guy you used to have over there with your 49ers that came from the University of Nevada? Does he give you that feel? What's your thoughts on that?
Look, he certainly does. You're talking about Colin Kaepernick, and there are similarities there, man. But one thing in particular that separates him from Colin is that he can break down a defense before the snap, Tony. I mean, he's a smart kid. Cap had a hard time with defenses, and when he would go through his progressions, if that first read wasn't there, what did he do? He just ran. He ran like a gazelle. Okay, Trey Lance is fast too, but he's also intelligent. Kaepernick, without disrespecting the guy, he just couldn't read the defense. If that first read wasn't there, he couldn't go through his progressions fast enough, and he just wanted to run. And Harbaugh said, look, man, if you don't see it, just take off. And that's exactly what he did. And it worked till teams figured it out. Now guys like Greg Roman, a familiar offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens, doing that with Lamar Jackson, it's working. It's working. It's come back around. That mobile quarterback, Tony, has come back around. Look at Josh Allen. He didn't do too much with his legs in that game versus Kansas City, but boy, could he throw the ball. And that made coaches very, very hungry for a quarterback that could throw the ball. So, look, Trey Lance and Colin Kaepernick have similarities, but Trey Lance is more more intelligent. He can break down the defense. He sees it, and he'll take it. And I would honestly consider Trey Lance at number 3 if Fields is not the guy. There's a lot of people that want Trey Lance at 3, Tony. There's a lot of people that believe that his ceiling is such that he is worth the 3rd-round pick.
John, I got news for you. I don't know if I'm seeing a Bigfoot, a Yeti, but I think we got Nico back. I don't know if he's working, but I think we got Nico back.
There's a problem. I can't figure out how to work this fucking thing now.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So we're
Just
going
let
with
that
that.
to the side. We don't have time for that right now.
Maybe that's what was fucking up the whole time.
The thing about an earpiece and the PC, they're not connected. In case you notice, there's no wires from that to this. They have nothing in common, my friend.
Maybe
That is not your problem.
All right, next thing I want to get to, and the last thing about the draft. All right, your Niners pick at 3. Your Browns are later in the 20s. I'm at 30. Who's a player that you know you're probably not going to get? Maybe a player that your team doesn't even need. Just a player in this draft you love. Is there a player in this draft that you love? I'll start with you, Nick, since you've been off the grid for a little while.
I love 3 players in this draft.
Holy shit.
3 players in this draft. And the Browns are at the point where they probably are a little too far out to get either of them. It's Jalen Phillips, it's Owusu-Koramoah, and it's J.C. Horn. There is one player that I think would still be there. Maybe not, but would still be there at that time. And that's Zaven Collins, the linebacker from Tulsa. I think he would fit perfectly on the Browns. Browns need a big-time middle linebacker. They haven't had one for a long, long time. And I feel like Zaven Collins would probably give them that. Super athletic, super big, super talented.
1. So who's the 1? The one guy that you're just like, this guy is awesome. I'm in love with this dude. Who is it?
I love Owusu-Koramoah. I think that guy is going to be like kind of like a Shazier type for Pittsburgh. I could actually see Pittsburgh getting him and him being awesome.
Man, doesn't it feel like Pittsburgh makes the greatest draft choices? Doesn't it every year?
I don't think they need him. I don't think that's where they're going to go, but he is a guy that fits their scheme perfectly.
Every time I see,
you absolutely need a linebacker. Listen, that's a possibility for you. Don't count it out. I don't know.
He's saying, I think he's saying for Pittsburgh, right, Nick?
For Pittsburgh.
I don't think that's an area of need, but I think, man, that guy fits them so good. He does exactly what they do. He's not big, but he doesn't have to be big, but he's fast as shit, and he'll just cover the field.
For some reason,
215. How much bigger at a linebacker's position do you need to be, Nick? He's 6'2", 215.
I mean, average size linebacker is probably about anywhere from 240 to 260.
All right. Well, this guy's going to put on about 10 pounds in his pro career. Let him get into
He's going to have to. But, I mean, he can fly around the field, and he's awesome instincts.
Pittsburgh's just one of those teams where they make a pick, and somewhere in your mind you're just like, man, that was a good pick. Every time. They're a great organization. And they just – John, who do you love in this draft?
Tony, I love we lost a receiver. We lost our number 3.
Goodwin?
Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne went to New England, and he got paid handsomely, and I have no problem with them getting their money. So I hope he does well, but he was fantastic. Sure hands. He was great on 3rd down. I would really like Diami Brown at wide receiver at pick 43 for us. I think that Diami Brown is dynamic, and he's fast. So fast.
What was that, Nick?
So what about you?
Me.
Who's the one player you love?
Quinn Miners, baby. I told John about him. John, did you go watch that YouTube
Quinn.
video?
I mean, he's like a lumberjack that crossed with a farmer, and he only trains in the outdoors, and he's nuts. He punches trees down with his fists, and I mean that.
He's sick.
Squats trees. He has a bench press, and he runs and carries wood. This guy is like he makes.
I've never heard of that dude. Where's he going?
Nick.
What rounds are you going in?
First of all, he's from Wisconsin.
Myers?
He's from Wisconsin Whitewater. Okay. I don't even know. You can't even buy a shirt online for Wisconsin Whitewater, and this dude's about to get drafted. I think I've seen him as high as the second round, late second round. But this kid, you got to
late second round. He's 6'3", 320. Jesus.
Nick, have you remember Rocky IV during his training montage?
Yeah, obviously.
Did you watch the YouTube video of this guy?
Isn't that what he was like? Hearts on fire. Is that the one?
That's it. Drago. You got to watch Quinn Miners on YouTube. He has a Rocky montage that he did of himself, and it's absolutely sick. Then watch film of this guy. I know it's D whatever the hell it is, D3, D2, something that's besides D1. And this guy's just pancaking everybody. He's sick. Then he went to the Senior Bowl and murdered it at the Senior Bowl as well.
Okay,
you have to watch. Go ahead.
The Senior Bowl actually gives me a little bit. If he did well at the Senior Bowl, that gives me a little bit. But the thing is, I want to see the Browns, either the Browns or the Raiders drafted some guy, probably about maybe 6-7 years ago. It was the same shit. He was huge. He was faster than hell. He was an offensive lineman, and he was playing for some bullshit school where he was just pancaking everyone.
Quinn Miners, baby.
Probably that guy ever played in the league.
I have one quick draft story I want to share with you guys. I don't know if either of you guys were there, but we went to the ITAM one night for the NFL draft. This is probably 10 years ago.
It was Trent Richardson.
It might have been Trent Richardson. It was around that time. I think it was Julio Jones draft.
Okay.
And I remember I opened my mouth, and I'm sitting there next to Bill, our buddy Bill, and there's a bunch of us sitting there around the bar. And I said, I had this bright idea. Hey, guys, for every Alabama player drafted, let's take a shot.
That was the Trent Richardson draft.
Trent Richardson
draft?
Was
the one where they had 18 players get drafted.
We're thinking, okay, how many colleges are there in the United States that play college football? There's no way Alabama's going to have more than 2-3 players drafted in the first round. Every one of us walked out of there destroyed that night because we were just having to take shots one after another with all these. I think they might have set a record that year of most players drafted in the first 2 rounds.
I think they had 8 players drafted in the first round. I could be wrong, but I think the first round they had 8 players.
I've seen Bill Rontos drunk twice. Once was that night, and you guys both know the other night. Okay.
The other night is forever gonna haunt me.
Any other
nursed him to life.
Any other draft talk, or are you guys ready to switch briefly to the NBA before we wrap up?
I just want to just real quick. You guys were talking about Cam Newton. Cam Newton sucks.
Thank you.
That being said, Tom Brady, I kept hearing rumbles. I don't know if it was necessarily accurate that Tom Brady and Bill Belichick have been at each other's throats for the last 6 years or so. So
I feel like he's at all of his players' throats.
Yeah.
Every year. I don't think it just started the last 6 years. I think they've been under each other's skin, but learn to cohabitate, whatever the hell that.
The two things
to live together.
The two things I will say about that though is Belichick is an egomaniac, and he's going to want to do things his way. And second of all, there actually is it's kind of like a proven system where you actually have a better chance at getting to a Super Bowl on a quarterback's rookie contract because you can surround him with more talent. That being said, they still have Cam. So I don't know how that works, but you do get a quarterback who's possibly talented on his rookie deal.
Those stats are good, but you also get to the Super Bowl having Tom Brady.
You do. Well, listen, Tom Brady had a freaking stacked bullshit team in Tampa Bay too. That team actually should have been better during the regular season.
I agree with that. that I'm just waiting for Julian Edelman to come out of retirement and join them as well.
And put up like 1,500 yards. Drafting in fantasy.
Speaking of fantasy, I think on our next show we're going to talk about it's going to be after the draft, of course, and we'll start talking about fantasy football rookies that were drafted, see where they land on Thursday, and then talk about that on our next show.
All right.
Any last words on the draft, John?
No, I think we covered it. You know, this is just a big pick for me. So as far as my final thoughts, I just want to get the right quarterback, man. And I need this to work because we are a stacked roster and we need to win a Super Bowl, bro. And I think our window is open.
That's what John needs. And I need the 49ers to pick Mac Jones.
Okay. I mean, listen, bro. If Mac Jones is the pick at 3, there's a chance that I will probably I won't be right. Like, I will lose my mind.
You guys probably could have got Mac Jones at your normal pick, and you traded a whole.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy about that comment that you just made is that Kyle said in a presser yesterday, which freaked me out completely. He said that the fans should be happy with who we picked at 12, should be just as excited with the number 3 pick.
There would have been such a crazy. There would not have been such a crazier move than when Sonny Wheeler traded up to pick Mac.
I mean, look at the guy laughing. Who's
Mac at what?
In the last 15 years, how many number 1 draft picks? How many first round draft picks have the Browns had and still couldn't finish, bro?
They got Baker now, though, boy. They got that Baker now. That's all that matters.
I'm not sold on Baker, bro. I'm not sold on Baker.
I mean, you don't have to be sold on him, but he's adequate. He's at very least adequate on a really good team.
Look, I will only give you the credit that you deserve here, Nick. He is stable with a good coach. Yeah. That said, Baker, this is his prove it year, correct? Would you say, or are you going to say that the shit show COVID pandemic football season of 2020 is going to be?
I think he showed. It's like I said, there are 4 types of quarterbacks. There are quarterbacks that shouldn't be in the league. There are quarterbacks that make really good backups and adequate starters on bad teams. There are quarterbacks that are really good, and there are quarterbacks that are transcendent. Baker it's left to be determined whether or not he's going to be transcendent. I don't think he is, but he's probably in that very good category where if you surround him with talent, he can win.
He will. I will agree with you there. He can win with a good core surrounding.
Is he Mahomes? He's not Mahomes. But
I'll tell you what.
Sure.
He's got Cleveland written all over him. He's a worker. He's a grinder. He's got the city in love with him, and he's got the city excited for the first time since you know who left and went to LA. Mm-hmm. But he's what the Cleveland Browns need, and it's what the fans want right now. So
it's good for Cleveland, bro. It's good for Cleveland. They deserve it. There's no doubt about it. Listen, Baker the guy and Baker the football player, the guy, he's exceptional. That's true. You cannot take anything away from him. He's good for Cleveland. They love him, and they rally behind him every Sunday, and that's what Cleveland deserves. They did deserve a winning culture, and maybe this is it. The Stefanski, I told Nick that with Stefanski before the season started that was going to be a successful run. And I believe that they did exactly what I thought they would. He was what they needed. And I believe they found their quarterback and they found their coach.
Stefanski's
Last,
good.
John, who the Niners getting at 3?
Justin Fields.
Nick, who the Browns taking first round?
My heart tells me it's going to be – my heart tells me Jalen Phillips. My brain tells me probably Zaven Collins.
So let's follow the heart because we all know there's not too much up there. I'm going to go with Asante Samuel Jr. at 30 for the Buffalo Bills. We're going to switch over to the NBA. Guys, this is going to be quick. Just wanted to touch on a few topics. I'm not sure if you guys saw the footage of last night's Cavs game. I know Nick and John, both Cavs fans.
You're not a Cavs fan. Are you kidding?
Nick is
I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that. I forgot. Yeah. The banners.
Dare you desecrate. Yeah, do you see a banner up there?
The banners behind you threw me off for a second. So, John, as a Cavs fan, let's talk about Kevin Love last night. Last night, for those of you listening, last night the Cavs were up. They were losing by about 15 to the Toronto Raptors. They went on like a 10-0 run. They got within 5. Toronto scored. Kevin Love got mad about one of the missed calls by the refs. The ref threw him the ball to inbound it. He tapped it in play, like real nonchalantly, just tapped it in play. Toronto hustled down, grabbed it, and made a 3-pointer off of that. Now, John, as a Cavs fan, Nick, you're a Portland Trailblazers. Me, I love my Indiana Pacers. But as a Cavs fan, what the hell is Kevin Love still doing on your team?
I don't know, man. I mean, we are trying to build a culture with young men, and I think they thought that Kevin Love – look, they've tried to move Kevin Love, right? They've been flirting with moving him for the last 5 seasons. Nobody wants him. He can't stay healthy to save his life, right? He folds like a lawn chair, bro. Just irrelevant. So to see that last night, that was a goddamn disgrace, okay? You had a little bitch fit and you didn't like the way things were going and you slapped the ball in and they took it and made an easy 3 out of it. I think that probably might have been the one move that determined his fate after this season. They're going to get rid of Kevin, and they should, because he's bringing this team nothing.
It was about a month ago. Colin Sexton came out. You remember the tweet that was put out, and someone tweeted out Kevin Love a waste of money or something like that, and Colin Sexton liked it. Yes. And that was a big deal. I feel like Colin Sexton is an outspoken young man, and I feel like he was speaking for the whole team. Listen, the future of the Cavaliers is Colin Sexton. The kid's awesome. To go along with Garland and Sexton in the backcourt is probably the Cavs' future for the next 10 years if they can hold on to those two. Wade, Okoro, even Jarrett Allen. I mean, they got a good core group of guys. But do you feel like Sexton's kind of speaking out, taking that, maybe not speaking out, but when he liked that comment, do you feel like he's speaking for the whole team? Like, what is this guy doing here? And I keep hearing the same thing. Oh, he's there to coach the guys up. He's there to mentor. All right, how about you go get a damn coach or a mentor for them then? Like someone that's not costing you that much money and being and I don't know if he's faking injuries. This guy, there's no way he's really injured as much as he says he's injured. I see him fall down, and 99% of the NBA gets back up and runs down the court. Kevin Love's out for 2 to 3 months on that same injury. My brother-in-law will die for Kevin Love. He loves Kevin Love. I don't know what it is about Kevin Love, but he's got a man crush on Kevin Love. I talked to him this morning. He goes, it's time for him to go. So even him, the guy, someone that would die for this guy, he even says it's time for him to go. If you look at that roster and it's like one of those pictures, what in this picture doesn't fit? It's the easiest puzzle in the world. Kevin Love does not fit. Get him the hell out of there and start building around Sexton and Garland. Am I right?
Yeah.
So the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Signed 4 years, Tony. He signed a 4-year, $120 million contract.
Buy him out at this point. Buy him out.
I don't even know who wants to take on that bullshit. There's no one that's going to take on that with his injury history. Okay, he hasn't played.
The Cavs have to be the most dysfunctional franchise in sports. They can never get it right. They have, first of all, it was a mistake for them to even have ever gotten Kevin Love. Kevin Love has done nothing for that team. They always, when they say in that championship, the shot, the block, and the defense, get the hell out of here. The defense. You're gonna give him the defense. That really locked it up for the Cavs championship right there.
They have a banner. They have a banner they raised for a championship. The first one in Cleveland in however many years. Yeah. I know everyone. Nick, I'm not a Cavs fan. You're not a Cavs fan. But I bet you that night that they won, actually, you're a different breed. So I'll speak for myself.
Are you gonna say I was happy? I was not happy. I was sick to my stomach.
When I watched that game 7, against the Warriors, in the block from LeBron James was, I think, will go down in history as the second best NBA basketball play I've ever seen. Jordan over Russell to win against the Jazz in '98 was my favorite moment of the NBA ever.
There was a better play in that game that happened like a minute before.
I can't remember
that. That was a defining moment in the victory, dude. That gave us
the shot. The shot was definitely the best play of that game.
The shot is irrelevant without the block, Nick.
Kyrie's shot.
That shot came after. It came after the block.
Okay, either way, that was better than the block. I've seen that block 1,000 times.
The block, Nick. I mean, we've gone over this 100 times. Without the block, the shot is irrelevant.
Nick, you know why you saw the block 1,000 times? You probably saw the block 1,000 times, and you probably saw Kyrie's shot a handful of times.
No,
because the block was the best, one of the best plays in NBA history.
I've seen a chase down block 1,000 times.
Not from half court, not in Game 7. To at that moment of time, you've never seen that. Nobody's ever seen that.
If Andre Iguodala wasn't being such a pussy and just jammed it home, we wouldn't even be talking about the block.
Look, Nick, do you know that have you seen chase down blocks since that?
The reason why the Cavaliers are in the same situation is because they sold out their future for that prick LeBron, okay? That's why. They sold out their future so that prick LeBron could win a championship, then leave the team in shambles when he left. And that's exactly what happened. They've done stupid crap like drafting Sexton and Garland in consecutive years. Trust me, I know having two guards that pretty much do the same thing is absolutely pointless because I'm a Trailblazers fan, and Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum just don't work. When CJ McCollum's hurt, Damian Lillard's amazing. When CJ McCollum comes back, Damian Lillard's not as good. I'm talking he just doesn't play as good. I'm not talking about his stats go down. Obviously, they're sharing the ball. But
You dirty rat. I know what you're doing right now. And you're thinking fantasy. You're thinking on the fantasy. Yes, you are. They're a better team with CJ McCollum. Don't take that away from CJ McCollum. That guy's sick.
No, listen. I have Damian Lillard on my team. I don't have CJ McCollum on my team, but I am a Trailblazers fan. I want the Trailblazers to win, and I just see it. Damian Lillard's the type of guy that needs to shoot the ball all the time. He needs to have 25 shots a game.
We need to change the subject. I hope your sound goes out again.
I hope
but the same thing's going to happen. The same thing goes on with Garland and Sexton. And to be frank, none of those guys are good as CJ and Lillard. They're just not.
Garland
their ceiling is their ceiling is, I mean, you're comparing apples to oranges right now, bro.
No,
Garland is he literally, I think he just actually set a record, a franchise record, maybe even listen.
You might set a record. What is their record?
Okay, they're butt cheeks. We know that. Okay, but we're gonna get draft. We're gonna be better this coming season. As soon as they get fired Bickerstaff and stop hiring the backup coach because he has a win streak when the other coach is hurt or injured or tired, that's bullshit.
The Cavs are
John, you talk about Bickerstaff
this year.
I don't like Bickerstaff.
John does not like Bickerstaff. I watch the Cavs, and when I see that
he keeps putting Kevin Love in the game. Dean Wade was doing far better than Kevin Love. He keeps him in the game. If you keep that man in the game and he keeps shooting the ball and he airballs it or he just flat out can't make the shot, Kevin Love is too slow to keep up with the pace of the Cavs. That's all there is to it.
The Cavs just don't have enough talent.
Up. We have talent. We just don't have a coach. We don't have a coach that knows how to utilize the talent.
Here's the thing. When I watch the Cavs and I see Jetty Osman on the floor as a starter, I'm thinking Bickerstaff needs to win Coach of the Year. Dealing with this team of dickheads. They don't have anything. Bickerstaff should be Coach of the Year.
He sucks. Until
Deli
gets the ball. I don't even want Dellavedova to dribble. I just want him to catch it and just dish it. I don't want you to dribble. I don't even want to see you move. I can't stand, dude. We need to cut Seti. We need to cut Kevin Love. We need to cut Bickerstaff in half, bro. Get this guy out of Cleveland, bro.
The only chance the Cavs have to be any damn good is trade one of Sexton and Garland, and I would go with Garland. I would trade Garland.
Man.
And hope that Okoro can develop an offensive game. And
Okoro wasn't drafted for his offense. Okoro was drafted for his defense.
Well, he was drafted on potential.
They're all drafted on potential, Nick.
No, but he was drafted with the potential. He's already a good defender. They already knew he was a good defender. He was drafted 6 overall, not because he was a good defender. You can get those guys.
You know so much about the Cavs. If you know so much about the Cavs, then you know that our defense was irrelevant. We were ghosts.
Okay.
Okoro was supposed to provide us with defense.
Yes.
Okay. And he's got potential. Yes. That being said, you guys haven't done much either. And I'll tell you what, Damian Lillard is probably going to leave the small market team in Portland, Oregon, and he's probably going to go elsewhere.
I don't think he will.
I think he will.
He's saying that he won't, and he's had the opportunity to.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I respect the hell out of Lillard. And I like CJ. It's not that I don't like CJ.
You know what?
But
then settle for the money. Settle for the money, Damian, and keep making music because winning a championship is not in his future.
You know what I hate about Damian Lillard? Let me tell you what I hate about Damian Lillard. I hate the fact that everyone keeps saying how underrated this guy is. He's the most underrated player in the NBA.
Yes.
I've been hearing that for the last 5 years. If everyone's talking about how underrated you are, you're still rated pretty high, in my opinion. I mean, if everyone in the world is saying how underrated you are, you're not underrated at that point.
No,
you're making all-star teams.
He is, because for like the first probably 3-4 years of his career, he should have been on an all-star team, wasn't. Now he's been making them lately, but he
He's
should have
not
been
underrated anymore. Everyone needs to stop with that shit. He's no longer underrated.
He's
Sick.
one of the top 5 players in the league.
In the league.
But he's never even Nick. Do you know that he is not even the top 5 for the MVP race currently?
He should be.
Joke. Well, he's not. And
No,
somehow he always manages to fall out of tops.
The only guys that are better than him currently, are Jokic.
Jokic actually took the top spot.
Yeah, Jokic. Embiid, definitely. I'm running a blank here, but
I honestly think it's a two-man race at this point. Steph Curry's up there in the conversation.
I think Steph Curry is. I don't think Steph Curry is much better than Lillard. I think if you put Lillard on those teams, Lillard would have three rings right now.
Curry's sick.
Yeah, but so is Lillard.
Curry is better.
He has literally put that team on his back the last. How many games did they win?
I think
didn't they just have like a come from behind late? What was that? He drew a foul. What happened, Tony? Am I missing something here? Because I know that he has. I haven't been watching the Golden State Warriors.
I mean, he is the sickest. I mean, he's probably. Here's what I want to get to. I don't know how we spun out of control talking about Kevin Love. There used to be a point in time.
It's
I don't
Giannis,
know if you guys.
It's Giannis.
Oh, okay,
Giannis and Kawhi are the top 5.
I don't think Kawhi. I wouldn't say Kawhi.
I mean, that is the top 5 currently.
I wouldn't say Kawhi is better than Lillard.
It's Jokic first, Embiid second.
Here's the thing with me, it's, and I used to be different when I was far more immature, but now that it comes down to, can you put the ball in the freaking basket? And there's not too many people that are better at putting the ball in the basket than Damian Lillard. Kawhi gets all this credit, but
have you seen Steph Curry put the ball in the basket? He does it better than anyone. Steph puts the ball in the basket better than anyone.
I mean, I would argue
he's the better shooter of the two.
I would argue they're very comparable.
No way in hell.
Absolutely.
Steph is the better shooter of the two.
I mean, if so, by a hair.
By a few championships.
So here's where I want to get to. Do you guys remember watching Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember in '98 when he walked away before he started that bullshit with the Wizards. Mm-hmm. I remember thinking, like, I hated Michael Jordan. I hated him. I used to watch him. And I remember just hating him because I was always the underdog guy. I wanted Karl Malone, John Stockton. I wanted those guys to win a ring, and Sean Kemp, Gary Payton, and Jordan would come and just murder those people. And I remember thinking when Jordan retired in '98, I think I started crying. I was like a 14, 15, I think I was like a 16-year-old kid. And I literally had tears coming out of my eyes because I was thinking the NBA is not going to be fun anymore. This is a living legend, a Hall of Famer, the greatest to ever do anything. He's the greatest to ever do anything. And for him to walk away, I was sad because I thought basketball was going to go away. Because at the time, you got to think, Kobe Bryant was a very, very young star, up-and-comer. Allen Iverson had a few years under his belt, but he wasn't at that level. You had Shaq. He was that tall guy being goofy, whatever. But there was no replacement of Michael Jordan. And until today, there hasn't been. And I started thinking today, when you compare Michael Jordan walking away in '98 and how scared I was as a fan that basketball is going to continue and still be fun and fun to watch. I don't have that same fear when it comes to LeBron walking away. LeBron is so sick. He's one of the greatest ever to play this game. But there is no fear for him to, if he retired tomorrow, the game would continue. I would have no tears. I would not feel scared that the game wouldn't continue. The game would go on tomorrow.
Well, you're also a 38-year-old man, not a 16-year-old little bitch.
It's not funny, Nick. Listen, I'm way more of a bitch now than I was when I was 16. Okay.
Yeah. You want to know why I'm not going to be sad for LeBron James to leave? Because LeBron James ruined basketball for me. LeBron James changed basketball for the worst in two particular ways. For the first way is with the super teams. He ruined basketball for me in that sense.
What about what he does for the community
and then
outside of the game?
Screw the community. He does that for himself. He doesn't do that for the community. He cares less about the community.
The community benefits from everything that he provides.
Yeah, he cares less about the community.
You know what, John? John, there's a story, John. A friend of ours, his dad works for a potato chip company that delivers potato chips, okay? We'll say it's Grandma Shear's potato chips. And I remember there was a story that his father told us that he got a call one day to go deliver potato chips, Grandma Shear's potato chips at LeBron James' house in Akron, the first time he played for Cleveland. He shows up at LeBron's house. He's having this huge party, and there's 60 trucks lined up. There's like pizza trucks, potato chip trucks, Pepsi, beer, all these trucks lined up. So Grandma Shears, it's time for him to pull up. He pulls up to the front, and a guy walks in to the truck and says, okay, we're going to start unloading. He goes, okay, well, here's your invoice you have to sign. He goes, what's an invoice? He goes, well, it's you have to pay for all this stuff. He goes, we ain't paying for shit. Get this bullshit potato chips out of here. Closed up the truck, and they were forced to leave. They were only accepting stuff at this guy's house that was free. So how is that guy really helping? How it's just one story of how is he really helping the community when he's just taking stuff for free? Like Nick say, he's building his own brand. When he did that announcement that he's taking his talents to South Beach, it's all for him. It's all to build his brand. And I'm with Nick. I can't stand the guy. I respect him. I know his greatness, what he's done for the game. I'm not on Nick's level. I listen, I'm a huge Boston Red Sox fan. When Derek Jeter retired, I loved him, and I shed a tear for Jeter. When LeBron goes, I'm not going to shed a tear for this guy. I think the NBA is in the best shape it's ever been in, and it's ready to lose a superstar like LeBron James. Just think about this. He's been out for a few weeks now with his injury, and no one's talking about him anymore. No one's talking about the Lakers. We've moved on to the Brooklyn Nets.
It's all about Steph right now. Steph is carrying the team for a late playoff push.
I mean, it's who else is in the West? It's Denver. They just lost, Jamal Murray, but the Joker's handling himself well in that team. But it's the NBA is in good shape. And one guy I want to talk.
I will give you guys. I know that he could. I know that he had some. He was toxic in Cleveland to an extent. I will admit that. I will. However, when you are young and you are made out to be the greatest basketball player at his age, to get a Nike deal and to be the first draft pick, and it just keeps going. Look, the I Promise School is probably the one thing towards the community that I give the most credit to.
I don't. Absolutely not.
I know you don't.
I don't. Anytime a celebrity builds a school, it's all bullshit. It doesn't do anything except for those few kids that go to that freaking school. Okay, it doesn't help society as a whole in general. It actually hurts society because then these people have these freaking schools that are awesome, and they get freaking Corvettes when they turn 16. They have fucking college paid for, but the rest of the kids that are in the same situation don't have nothing. Okay, so I don't care about those schools. Those schools, once again, are to build the person's brand. That's it. For a little bit of investment, he gets a whole lot of notoriety. But I will tell you, it's not just about that. There's another reason why I will not why I won't lament the loss of LeBron James eventually, because he ruined the way basketball is played. And it's going to get to our second point because there's another guy that basically does the same exact thing, and that's Russell Westbrook. I'm going to drive to the hole, and then I'm going to kick it out for a 3-pointer. That way, I'll get a ton of points. I'll get a ton of assists because I'll have guys on the perimeter that can just hit threes all day, and I get my assists that way instead of having a creative pass in the key that leads to an easy shot. I just get my assist by throwing it out to the 3-point line, letting people bomb away. And I also get more rebounds because there's more perimeter rebounding when people chuck up threes. So it's easier for me to get triple doubles. And Russell Westbrook does the same thing, and I hate that style of basketball.
I got to admit something to you guys. I have a secret hatred. I mean, it's a passion of how much I hate Russell Westbrook. I hate him so much, guys. And this triple double shit has gone out of control.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exactly what Nick's saying. Do you know, John? All right. When there's free throws, when the opposing team is shooting free throws, there's 2 guys from your team underneath the basket. One of those 2 guys, it's a center and a power forward. One of those 2 guys is going to get the rebound if there's a missed free throw. Not if it's a Russell Westbrook team. They clear out and set picks for him to fly down the lane and get the rebounds. I think he has it in his contract that they need to clear the lane for him to come grab rebounds. That's how crazy I think that asshole is. And I think he's an asshole too. I can't stand him, and I have a passion for hating him.
I love the way he plays the game, man. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. He plays angry, and I love it.
Oh, if any of these stars we're talking about played with his heart and his passion, they would have 12 NBA. If LeBron James played with the passion and heart of Russell Westbrook, he would have 12 NBA championships right now. But he's an asshole, John.
Look, I don't like Russell Westbrook. I don't. But I do like the way he plays the game. You can't not hate that. The league changes, Nick. It has to evolve. You don't have to like the way the league evolves, but it has.
Yeah, but
the style of basketball, but it's not. It doesn't start.
To me,
it trickled down, bro. It's happening at the college level.
Not enjoyable.
I mean, who do you enjoy watching college basketball? Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I enjoy watching college basketball because there's actually offensive systems and stuff. Yeah, I enjoy college basketball.
I don't enjoy watching college basketball because they don't know what they're doing yet.
Yeah,
yeah, we lost them, and we couldn't.
They're playing the system though.
All right, Nick, you're fading. I think we're going to hear your laugh in the next 5 minutes here.
Yep, there it is.
John, do you have any last words before we wrap this show up? We've been going for about an hour and a half. We got to wrap things up.
Yeah, look, final thoughts. The draft is in less than 48 hours, and I couldn't be more excited. I don't care what LeBron does in the end. I don't, Kevin Love is butt cheek dust. He sucks, and I don't want anything to do with him. Nick, I hope that your internet gets better. And really, I don't have any other. I have nothing else to contribute at this point, my friends. I'm tired. Do you guys want to run a mock draft, or do you want to save that for next year?
We'll save that. Nick, what do you got for us? Final thoughts. Yeah, I knew this would be a bad idea.
Nick's
Nick,
internet's.
You're talking.
Your internet gave me final thoughts.
I'm really hoping that the 49ers draft Mac Jones.
Oh,
So I can see John's epic implosion.
all right, John. Do me a favor. Record yourself, or have Allison record you during the third pick, because I want to see your reaction either way. Could you do that so we could throw it on our next video?
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to see it.
All right, go Buffalo, go 49ers. Let's have some good drafts, and we'll see you guys next time on the Locker Room Rant.